episode 74 of Speak on It. I am your host, Danny Ocean, as always, joined by the smoothest man on the planet, Losty Mix. How are you doing on this beautiful Tuesday evening?
Hey man, you already know what I told y'all last week. This week I was finna come back. I was about to come back better than ever with, of course, the fresh Nas fade. If you are joining via the video, so you see the fresh Nas fade. Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm doing great in terms of personally. I would say fantasy wise, I'm doing like all right. You know what I'm saying? No, actually I'm doing pretty good, but
Okay.
I'm a little upset. But overall, man, and then you know what I'm saying, Green Bay Packers NBA Media Day feels like we're getting in that prime time of sports. We got Aaron Judge who's out here going crazy, so we're getting to that prime time of sports. So I'm just out here enjoying it, man. I'm out here enjoying. How are you doing, my brother?
I am living the dream. It's been a good day. It's like you said, where basketball season's right around the corner, football season's going on. College football, we're in full swing. College basketball is right around the corner. So we're entering the time of the year, the best time of year on the sports calendar, if you ask me.
What is probably okay? If late October, I mean, if late September to like mid to late October is prime
Mhm.
sports time. What is the second best? Is it Christmas? Is it November-ish? Is it
Ooh, that's a good one. It's got to be Christmas, right? Because Christmas, like for me, I don't know about you. For me, there's something special about NBA basketball on Christmas Day. Like I don't know about like for me, pre-COVID when our family got together at my grandmother's house, we would all sit around the TV and watch the two, the four, and then usually the 6 o'clock game is kind of boring. And then I would go home, pull myself a drink, and watch the eight.
that's usually because the eight was usually well, maybe in my most of my basketball fan, the eight is usually when the Lakers
Yeah,
would play, depending on who it is, and it's either the Lakers and or Braun. It's one
yeah.
of the two.
Because usually 12 is like Knicks Sixers, and then you get like
Gotta get them in there somewhere.
yeah, then it's like Bucks Heat or something like that, and then the 4 o'clock game is usually, you know,
Boston.
yeah, it would be like Bucks Boston, and then the 4 o'clock game probably is like Dallas, something like when Dallas used to play on. They play on Christmas now, and then the eight, like you said, that game is Braun versus Golden State, and then the nightcap is like Suns Nuggets.
So what I'm really intrigued to see this year, since we're on this conversation of the NBA on Christmas, is how and what the NBA plans to do this Christmas when they legitimately there's no competition. I mean, there's no other way around it. You're going one on one with the NFL. Like
Oh,
you're going one on one with the NFL.
they're gonna lose. Well, I will say
I don't
that
know if they're gonna. Will they though? Because this has been their day. So
let's
what
see.
I think they have to hope for if the NBA has to ensure, and I think they've already put out their Christmas slate games. They have to
Yeah,
hope that those teams that they have picked for Christmas all remain good, or at least a handful of them remain good, to where those games garner a lot of national interest because people will sit through two shitty football teams and watch it.
yes, they
Wanna know how
will.
I know?
Because
Because I just had to sit through it last night.
so here I'll read you the slate of NBA games, and I'll read you the slate of NFL games. You tell me which one's more interesting. Sixers at Knicks. We talked about that. The Lakers are at Dallas. You got Denver at Phoenix, Memphis at Golden State, and then you have Milwaukee at Boston. Here are your NFL Christmas games. Green Bay is in Miami,
Oh my
Denver
god.
is in LA, and then Tampa Bay is in Arizona. I don't know. I feel like basketball might have the upper hand if
Man, yo, outside of Green Bay, Miami, them other games might be some. Why the fuck am I wasting my time?
yeah, like I'm not watching Denver.
And and here's my thing on the Green Bay Miami game. You better hope both teams are good.
Yeah.
You gotta hope both teams are good because I believe that game is being I think it's being played in South Florida.
Yes, the Green Bay
Oh
Packers are
man,
going
we're
to
about to get
Miami.
our boots smoked. I'm a
And I think
yo. If
people are
y'all have not
more
noticed, look, in terms of like pure home field advantage, I think the first 3 or 4 weeks of the NFL season has kind of showed me the Miami Dolphins might have as good as an home field advantage as maybe anyone else in professional football. You just got to go to Miami and play football in the heat. Now, granted, I know it's September now, so it's really harder on probably September having to go down there and play. But fam, I've been to Miami in late in the year. It don't be cold. It's not cold there. Like it's not going to get cold there. They might have with them a little something.
So, do you think people are more in tune to watch a bad basketball game or a bad football game? Like if both games are, I was gonna say it's easier to come back in basketball than it is in football.
Well, wait, no, I said people would rather watch a bad football game, right?
I thought you said basketball.
No, I said people would rather watch a bad football game because you might be the NFL is king. The NFL in America is like crack in the 80s. So like people are already they got to feel that NFL kick out of them, and then with the way some of these fan bases are, like some people would rather sit there for 3 hours and hope and pray that their team has a chance at winning it at the very, very end, even if their team is pretty damn bad, versus an NBA team is like, yo, it's 82 games and y'all have been shit for like 55 of them. I'm gonna pass on watching y'all on Christmas because why? There's 16 games of them, and there's 17 games of football, and of 17, we've lost 14, but of those 14 losses, we've been in 11 of those games. Oh man, you're serving out. You're just serving drugs at the fiends at that point. Serving drugs at the fiends.
Stringer, you've seen The Wire, right? So there's a scene where one of the drug dealers walks to Stringer Bell. Stringer Bell's played by Idris Elba, for those who don't know. And he says, I can't wait till we get that new package. And he's referring to, I can't wait to get a remixed version of the drugs that we're selling. And Stringer Bell looks at him. He says, my friend, all we do is put new caps on it. It don't matter what we sell. If we sell weak crack, they buy twice as much. If we sell strong crack, they die. Or no, if you sell strong crack, they keep coming back for more, right? And that's what I feel like that's what you're saying, right? It doesn't matter what the NFL puts on TV; people are going to consume it.
You're right, but I'm gonna tell people this, and this might be a D-Mix hot take. If the U.S. men's national soccer team ever gets good to where they can compete like internationally, I'm gonna tell you right now, NFL might be in some trouble.
Really?
I think so, personally.
Okay.
I think there's a growing market. You're talking about the biggest international sport in the world. If the U.S. became very, very good at it, you don't think they'd want to pump some, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe I shouldn't say the U.S. I'm gonna say this: the U.S. men's national team and Major League Soccer.
Okay. I was about to say, people in America have shitted on the men's team for so long. It's going to take a long time. Yep. Like they're going to have to win the World Cup.
And like if Major League Soccer gets good and the U.S. has a really good World Cup run.
Yeah, then we could be talking, which is sad because the women's U.S. soccer team has been dominant for a very long time.
And they're the cream of the crop in America.
Let's do some housekeeping stuff. As always, this show is brought to you by GoingFor2.com. Head over to GoingFor2.com for all your daily fantasy needs. Football season is here. Waiver wires, anything you need for any kind of league, dynasty, redraft, best ball, whatever you need. Again, D and I are going to talk about fantasy a little bit later. With that being said, we also want to shout out Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code GF2 to get a deposit match up to $100. Again, go to underdogfantasy.com. Use the code GF2 for a deposit match up to $100. D, tonight we have a lot to talk about. We're talking about NFL Week 3. We're talking about college football. We're going to do our best to talk about the Ime Udoka and the Boston Celtics in a responsible manner. We're going to do our daily fantasy talk. We got some quick hitters. Let's start in the NFL as we usually do. We saw some incredible football this week. And we saw a lot of mid-offs, a whole lot of mid-offs that we had to watch, but we still watched them. We saw previous playoff teams fall to 0-3. We saw the Dolphins and Bills battling in what might be the game of the year for 60 minutes. What are your biggest three takeaways from week? What are your biggest takeaways from week 3 that you want to speak on?
Okay, a couple. I got a couple.
Okay.
Number one, the Denver Broncos should not be in prime time until they, 1, learn how to field an offense, and 2, learn game management, and 3, complete a game with less than 5 punts. less than 5 punts. Like, I don't want to, schedule makers, before you think about putting the Denver Broncos on prime time again, just remember, randomly, I know this is going to sound like some shit, the Jacksonville Jaguars are top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency.
Yes, they are.
Show my man Trevor Lawrence some love. Show my man Trevor Lawrence some love, for one. Second point, golly. Chargers. Y'all can't continue to Charger the way only the Chargers could Charger. When I had y'all so high, but even when I don't expect y'all to Charger, y'all still find a way to Charger. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that sentence makes sense. But that's exactly what I just want to say to the Los Angeles Chargers. Third, Las Vegas Raiders. Fam. 0-3.
0-3.
What's my man name? Al Davis is somewhere rolling in his grave, just dumbfounded. Boy, Al Davis would have said, man, we might as well have kept John Gruden for all this. We might as well have kept John Gruden and dealt with it. If this is the outcome we was going to deal with. Come on. Hendrick, could you leave that thing alone? So you kill me. So yeah, I mean, boy, Vegas Raiders, y'all got to figure that out. Now, I'm not going to say any other names on that team because I understand, but to leave and go 0-3, that is very unfortunate. And the Detroit Lions, I'm so confused on what the fuck happened in your game. I was very I'm like, that's another one. Y'all lucky the Denver Broncos played after y'all, because I'm so confused on what the fuck happened in Detroit at Minnesota.
They became the Lions.
Yeah, they became the Lions. And then my last one is, I don't know if I'm ready to say the Dolphins are legitimately legit, but I'm going to say this. They are not frauds because the fakes expose themselves.
Yeah, I will say, back to your, you kind of touched on things I want to talk about. I do want to say that I wish that moving forward, when we do these TV contracts, we have the opportunity, and I know this isn't fair to like Fox and CBS, for NBC to flex games throughout the season. I know, like, after like week, maybe it's 8 or 9 or 10 or 11, NBC has the right to flex games from Sunday Night Football to a more interesting matchup. I wish they could do that all year, because I don't never want to see the Denver Broncos on TV again. I'm with you.
Never.
Like,
it's bad. And this goes back to what remember when I was saying, I don't think this division is going to be everything that
you were right.
Experts think it is.
You were right.
So, yes, thank you. But I thought it would be because it would be 3.5 decent teams just beating up on each other, when really what I'm seeing is it's one solid team who has to figure out their offense, another team who can't stay healthy, and 2 teams
that are ass.
Just like, it's amateur hour. Andy Reid is in a division with 3 coaches that he just looks at like food on the other side. Like food.
Like, Doug Peterson took Staley's lunch yesterday.
Man.
In Philadelphia, for those who don't know, fans used to call Doug Peterson like Big Balls Doug. Pause. And because of the, his clock management and the way he went on 4th down, and like Sunday, he just masterclass. Yeah, I'm with you. The Braiders and the Broncos and the Raiders are cooked. I'm done. We're good. Don't need to see. I was wrong about the AFC West. You were right. Never want to see them again. The Jacksonville Jaguars, you touched on it. We're going to talk about the Eagles later because they play Sunday. The Jacksonville Jaguars are a really good football team. And I tried to tell guys, Doug Peterson has a way of taking young quarterbacks in their second year and turning them into top 10 or playing at a top 10 level.
So this makes me wonder. It's only been a year, and not even that. It's only been 4 weeks. What the fuck was Urban Meyer doing?
I saw it's Doug Peterson has already matched Urban Meyer in
Urban. Like, Doug Peterson is not like moving mountains. So I can only I feel like Doug Peterson just came in and implemented his system with a little bit of like mad common sense
That's
and
it.
stability at the head coaching position. What the fuck was Urban Meyer doing, dog? Like, I mean, I know they made some acquisitions like Christian Kirk,
Yep.
and I know they made some defensive, but like, this has to be like 60 to 70% of the same team. What the fuck was Urban Meyer doing, man?
Urban was getting them cheeks. Urban was in these Jacksonville streets getting cheeks.
What
Dog.
was Urban doing?
And all Doug is doing is like, hey guys, let's run a mesh concept on 3rd and 5. We'll get a first down.
He just brought stability and respectability at the head coaching position, and then implemented his offensive and defensive systems and schematics.
Hey dog.
Oh man.
Oh, wow, they're playing zone. Let's run a curl route like that, like legit. Like Doug is like, hey, this is football 101. It's amazing.
Like, and yo, because you remember, like Trevor Lawrence people was being compared to like Andrew Luck in terms of quarterback prospects. I don't want y'all to forget who this man was in both high school and in college.
Yes.
Urban, what was you do? Number 1 overall pick, Urban. What was? Oh man,
that's the only thing Urban got right, and I feel like he didn't have a choice. Like I bet you Urban walked into that meeting and was like, "Yo, what if we took Justin Fields?" And Khan said, "Hey, dog, shut the fuck up. We taking Trevor Lawrence. That's it."
You know, another thing from the NFL Week 3. I don't know what's going on with the NFC East. I don't know if it's because of like a weak schedule. I don't know if it's because like maybe after being so ass, some of these teams in this division are starting to turn around. But
can we talk about that? Because I was going to leave
the
it
NFC
alone
East
tonight.
might not be as bad as folks.
The NFC is as bad as you think it is. Dog, I don't know what Cowboy fans are in these streets hooting and hollering about. Like, you won last night because oh boy has terrible clock. Like, I'm sorry. You almost lost the game because Mike McCarthy's terrible clock management. He almost gave the Giants the ball back with a chance to win, but it's Daniel Jones. Like, dog, that's Daniel Jones. And you only won by 7.
So what you're saying is you legitimately think the Giants are a quarterback away, which I do too.
No, I think the Giants are a lot away. Their offensive line is terrible. You know what? You know what's funny?
Okay. Can I interject there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Every time, okay, how do I, because I saw this stat that said if you see a quarterback that sacks a lot, all of that cannot always fall on the offensive line.
Correct.
And so in the case of like I'm thinking of 2 teams in particular, the Giants and the Bengals, right?
Yep.
So I think when the quarterback is protected, whether it's his presence in the pocket or his line's ability to block, or a combination of both, we've seen what Joe Burrow can do.
Yes.
What I'm trying to say is, yo, at a certain point, dog, we've seen what Daniel Jones could do with half a line, with a full line, and with no line. There's only so many wide receivers they can keep taking in the first round. There's only so many offensive linemen they can keep taking in the first round. There's only so many defensive linemen they can keep trying to build around defense to help get you more opportunities. At what point do the Giants and Brian Daboll have to look and be like, yo, we have Saquon Barkley, who is starting to look a lot like his self from a couple years ago. We have a offensive line that's probably serviceable. We could probably use a little bit of beefing, a little bit of development, but we got an offensive line that's serviceable. And I mean, we keep taking these wide receivers, and we have good wide receivers. Now I know Sterling Shepard just got hurt, so maybe you might have to start thinking about, unfortunately, drafting another one. But they keep bringing in offensive talent, and they can't figure out what the fuck they want to do with Kadarius Toney. So what I'm trying to say is, I think at some point the Giants have to look in the mirror and say, yo, he's not it. And this is a results-based business. He's got to go.
Well, I think so, because they didn't extend him. They didn't pick up his 5th-year option. Like, this is it for Daniel Jones. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I have nothing. Like, he's terrible. Like, I don't understand the Cowboy celebration. Like, you didn't dominate the Giants. You won by 7. I mean, a win is a win. Like, that's not a win is a win.
One.
Cooper Rush is your quarterback right now, so you do what you can. But I don't know, man. I don't think the defense is as good as people think it is.
I will say the Cowboys, they're a good football team. So I want to give them credit there. I heard Marcus Spears kind of speak on it earlier today. When it comes to winning on an NFL Sunday or Monday or Thursday, it is hard. Yes. It is hard because anybody can come in your house and just randomly kick your ass.
Right.
Please ask the Los Angeles Chargers, who this is 2 years in a row, somebody from the AFC South has came in and played them and just straight up kicked their ass for 60 minutes. So they got some things they need to reevaluate there. Anyway, it's an any given Sunday league. So I want to give the Cowboys a little bit of credit. Whether the New York Giants have been playing decent football, decent winning football. They were finding a way to win games. The Cowboys were down a quarterback. They still probably got some questions about their offense, but they felt good about Cooper Rush, his ability to lead an offense, and they put together a game plan after a week of practicing and went out there and got a win against a team with their starting quarterback.
That's fair.
That was undefeated at home. I mean, on the road. So, got to give them their credit there. Then Gator J was saying what you were saying about Daniel Jones in that 5th year.
Yeah, I don't think they gave him his fifth. I don't think they picked up his 5th-year option.
Yeah. What do you think about the Chiefs losing to the Colts?
I feel like every year the Chiefs have a fluke loss, and we start questioning, are the Chiefs good? I think this is that fluke loss. I'm not worried about them at all.
What do you say? What do you say about the landscape of the AFC versus the NFC? And where, after 3 weeks, like, where do you think? Who do you think? What conference do you think is going to be the tougher road off of?
Oh, it's definitely the AFC, right? So the AFC champion is going to have to play some combination of the Bengals, the Ravens, the Chargers, the Bills, the Chiefs. I'm sorry, I forgot the Chiefs, and possibly the Jaguars, right? Like some combination compared to in the NFC. Your combination is going to be the Bucks, the Packers, the Eagles, and then who else are we talking about? The Rams.
The Rams for sure. I'm gonna be honest with you. Let's see. I'm starting to think. Honestly, I don't know what it is. I think if the Saints found a way to maybe turn some things around offensively, they might be into something. Yo, Jameis Winston threw a pass on Sunday that I think is probably one of the funniest passes I've ever seen caught for a touchdown. He threw this bitch in like. What's the fancy word for 5 people covering? Man, it was quadruple. It was like an orgy. It was like an orgy around this one.
Whoa, Robert Griffin. Hold on now, sir. Hold on, RG3.
It was like an orgy around one player. And my man Jameis Winston just threw it up. And luckily Marquise Callaway came down one hand. What was another stupid ass throw I saw? Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, wrap it up.
Hey, yo, Joe playing like I know Zach on his way back in a couple weeks. I'm gonna get these throws.
Joe said, "Look, man, y'all ain't gonna start me. Cool, I'll throw this.
I got you.
I'll throw this bitch who I want to.
I got you."
And last team. Hold on. Actually, 2 more teams. 2 more teams for me. Carson Wentz. Oh Lord have mercy.
I had so much fun watching that game.
Carson Wentz, man. Lord have mercy. When you go back to Philadelphia, dog, it's going to be some funny shit.
But you know what? They'll win that game. That's the game he'll win. He will win that game. Like when Washington comes to Philly, they will win that game. Like I just feel that in my spirit. But Sunday,
y'all kick their ass at their crib. They got to come back with some blood.
Sunday, we'll talk about the Eagles later, but Sunday was very gratifying. What's the last team you got?
It's a combination of 2 teams.
Okay.
Cardinals, Raiders.
Dog, if the Cardinals didn't
pull off that, to get y'all's head coaches fired.
Yes. Did you see some reporter asked Cliff Kingsbury? Essentially, the gist was, "What are you thinking having some small receiver block on the screen? Like, what are you thinking, man?" And Cliff was like, "Yo, I gotta find the clip and send it." But that's the gist of it. Like, do you think it's smart to have a 5'6" receiver blocking the outside on a corner on the screen? And Cliff was just kind of like, "Well, I mean, we pay them to block and to run routes and to catch the ball." And he was like, "Yeah, I understand that, but do you think that was a good idea to have that little man blocking on the screen?"
They
Yo,
said, they had a little Rondale Moore out there trying to guard Aaron Donald on a screen pass, and he looked at him like food on the outside.
your TV talking?
My TV just talked to me, yo,
Yo,
that's wild.
for those who are on the
Okay.
audio journey with us, D's TV just started
Whoa,
talking without
nah, but like,
anything.
did anyone, like, because I definitely wasn't talking to that TV.
No, you were not.
Wow.
It was talking to you though. You know what's funny? Funny story, and then we can switch to Ime Doka and the Celtics. I used to have one of those Google Homes, and one night my wife and I were watching TV, and that joint started answering questions that neither one of us asked. And I was like, "Oh, the Feds got to be listening. Somebody on the other end listening to something." And that joint been in the attic ever since. I swear on everything. That joint started answering questions I did not ask.
Oh man, sometimes I mean, look, sometimes technology is listening. Technology is listening.
It's always listening.
Okay, so let's see what the people are talking about. Shout out to the folks who pull up to the live chat. So Gator J said Barkley is playing some winning football. I agree. He also said
Yep.
Denver is out of the AFC already. He called that shit. I bet you
He
did.
did.
Gator J.
He did.
He also called Pete Carroll to Arizona. I remember that. I remember that.
He did that this summer. So Gator, you're still on track.
What's good, Kyle? What's good research? How's it going, man? Jamie said head coaches on the Raiders is trying to get him so far. They need to design plays for him to get the ball like they did in Green Bay. I think he's talking about Devontae Adams in that back part of that sentence. Yeah, I agree. They probably do, but I was also reading somewhere that Devontae Adams, like his target share is already incredible over there. So what they really need to do is try to figure out how to scheme other guys open while also making sure they target Devontae Adams. Something that we did in Green Bay, but it's okay. His first part was the head coach. He's basically saying, what's his name?
Josh McDaniels.
He's basically saying Josh McDaniels trying to get himself fired from Las Vegas. Yo, probably, yeah. Let me tell y'all something what I think Josh McDaniels is trying to do. I think Josh McDaniels left Bill Belichick high and dry to let him know, yo, you need me here to help call plays with this guy at quarterback. And I might be with Jamie. He could be going to Vegas to self-sabotage and run up a bag. And he was like, yo, but wait till Bill retire, though. Boy.
Dog. He would never get another coaching job ever again. Ever.
He's probably real cool with Robert Kraft, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They probably never mind. Let's shift gears to a more serious topic. So last week it was reported that the head coach of the Boston Celtics, Ime Udoka, will be suspended for the upcoming season, the entire year, for violating team policies, which is suspected. And this has kind of changed back and forth. There are some reports saying that this was a consensual relationship, and then there was another report saying that there might have been potential harassment. But he had a relationship with an employee on the team. D, there are a lot of things that are still up in the air. There are details we do not know, but this suspension is definitely one thing we do know that it's final. What are your thoughts on the situation, and what are your thoughts on the suspension?
Whew. Okay. Let's start with the suspension.
Yes.
I'm gonna start with the suspension. I've been thinking about this a lot because part of me. Let me first start by saying this has nothing to do with the NBA. This is the Boston Celtics who came to this decision. So when people ask why him and Robert Sarver at the same time, it's because the NBA came to that decision. The Boston Celtics came to this decision.
Yes.
Two different entities. The NBA, the National Basketball Association, I'm gonna let everyone know right now, they did not care.
They have nothing to do with this.
They did not care at all. When I think of the punishment, I think a part of me think it's, and without all the details, it's a smidge. It's a year a little strong, dog.
Yeah.
A year was a little strong, which I think what tells me, because I think at this point we all kind of know what he was, he was having a consensual relationship. So they say. So it's reported. How do I say this? So I think it was reported somewhere that this investigation had started a few months ago.
Yes,
So
like back in July.
July. So I think there's an outside entity that brought this to the Celtics, which I believe was a husband or somebody in the organization, whoever the husband of the woman Ime was in a relationship with. I think he brought this to the Celtics organization, but I think he brought this to the Celtics organization in a way that was like, "Yo, I want him fired immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I want X amount of dollars, or I'm going to go public with this. If you don't fire him, right?" And I think it got to a point where the Boston Celtics, because you know what I'm saying, don't no hoe, ain't no hoe owning the Boston Celtics. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna strong arm a sports franchise owner because you know these are billionaires, and billionaires don't take too kindly to being rolled over, especially when it's a little bit of cheating, stuff like that. It's not enough for them to pay that much hush money, which I think is the case here. I think there was some hush money that was demanded, and the Celtics were like, "No, we will handle this ourselves and put all these details out." And so I say all that to say, if you notice the pattern of like how details have just trickled out because they want to make sure some things are known, which have also made some things conflicting. Starting by the fact that it was consensual, they wanted to make sure it was known from that standpoint, right?
Yes.
Now they're saying there's some harassment, which now I'm questionable about, but for the most part, there was a report that it was consensual. I'm gonna go off Woj, who knows, said it was consensual. Then I was noticing how they were saying they were investigating, and then they probably gave him the long suspension just to let it be known that this behavior won't be tolerated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they want to put out they put out that statement of we're going to revisit his contract situation after the fact because I think they want to let the world think that there's a chance that he may not be coming back to let it die down for them to come back and probably think about like they'll probably punish him like I think they mentioned maybe like salary decrease or something like that. Like they'll find something, but part of me really thinks they wanted to get in front of this so like they can help control the narrative and not get to a point where like this other entity puts out all these details. Now it's like a fire drill that you're just trying to put things out. So you spend them for the year. Although part of me, so I think at first I was like, "There's no way Ime is going to ever coach for the Celtics again. Like that's it. It's a wrap." And now I'm like, actually,
Really?
I kind of think he will.
Okay.
I kind of think he will because what happened. I think they brought him in. They were probably like, "Look, dog. Truth be told, most of us in here don't really care. Like it's your business. You do what you like." They were probably like, "We don't support what you're doing. At the end of the day, you grown. If y'all want to be doing what you want to do, that's cool. But if we let this story get out, it's bad. And it's really bad. And it's really, really bad. And we can't put something like this above the overall brand and above the overall team." So I bet you they were probably like, "Listen, we are going to suspend you for a year and we are going to make this to the public a lot more harsher than it is. And then after this year, midway through this year, we can revisit this situation. And if everything's still good, we should be able to make amends here." And I bet you Ime was probably like, I bet he was like, "Yo, this is some bullshit. Like we're being extorted, but PR games."
For me, it's again, we don't know a lot, but there are a couple of different compartments to this. The first one is how the story has been handled in regards to the Celtics leaking this. I remember I read one day, like a long time ago, I was like, if you read Woj's tweet, you can kind of figure out that Woj's sources are teams and Sham's sources are agents and players. And when Woj broke the story, it read just like the Boston Celtics had wrote it. Hey, this is the tweet, copy, paste, send it. I think in the world where journalists try to be first instead of right lead to stories like this that cause a lot of confusion. Because like you said, was it consensual, or was there, was this woman harassed? Were there power dynamics that we don't know about that caused this relationship to keep going? Like, we don't know the details. So I don't want to speak too much on that. I will say for Ime, I think all we know is that Ime had in a relationship with someone on the staff that was so egregious that the Boston Celtics decided to do something that has never been done before and give him a year-long suspension that he did not push back on, right? Usually when something like this happens.
Or was it the act was so egregious, or the person in which act was committed with was so high ranking, or was in relation to someone that was high ranking enough where it was a conflict of interest?
I think it's a mixture of both.
Like, yo, Ime, you the head coach and you fresh up for taking us to the finals, but we can't have you clapping our VP's wife, dog.
Allegedly. Because we don't know the victim yet. Because we don't know who this woman is yet.
We can't have you out here clamping the VP's wife, because it's like, yo, dog, like, you have a very beautiful wife. Like a very beautiful wife.
Cheating is not about looks, it's about access.
Yes, and I get it. I mean, you're talking about people who have access to people like all throughout, we're talking, yeah, I get what you're saying. But
yeah, I just
you can't shit where you live, brother.
To me, there's something about him not pushing back, right? Because when something like this happens, usually the union steps in and is like, no, you can't do this. Like, we have heard no pushback. Ime said, yup, I'm going to take this suspension. I'm going to go off in the corner and I'm going to,
Has he put out a statement?
Yeah, he did. He put out, like, as soon as it was announced, Ime was like, yup, I'm going to, like, there's no pushback at all. I think I think Kyle mentioned earlier, like, there's something to the story that we're not missing. And whatever that other shoe is, if the public ever finds out, he will never coach the Celtics again. If we don't find out, I think that's what this year is about. I don't think he's going to coach the Celtics again, because if it's something on the border, like if it's something in the realm of harassment, you can't bring him back into this environment if that woman is still there, even if she's not there, because again, like, you can't let a predator back into, not to call him a predator, but you can't let the harasser, if that's what this is, back into the environment where someone was harassed, right? Like, that's just negligence of the highest form. So I think he's done in Boston. Like, I think there's another shoe to drop that will drop eventually, because they can't hide it forever.
I think that's where that's what it is for me. Like, until this, whatever this information,
if we ever find out, because we may never find out. I think we will.
I think that's what I think it is. I think, to your point, because he didn't really fight it. To be honest with you, the team looks like they're taking a conceited effort to really try to keep as much of this in-house as they can, which kind of lets me know he violated actions, but they are probably actions that they think they can handle internally, discipline internally. And then next year, like, take this next year to train not only Ime, but the players and so on and so forth on how we're going to communicate this, how we want to talk about this from a PR standpoint. There's a lot of PR games that got to get played here. I think, and I'm really kind of going off of how I've seen other situations happen with athletes. Like, you would sometimes we get details so fast. It's like, oh yeah, he did that shit. And not only he did that shit, my dog, you may never athletically do anything again. Like, it's donezo for you. And then you see a situation like this where you can see it, like, yo, Woj and Shams, they have no shame. Like, so they will quickly tweet out shit way before they really get all the info. Yeah. And it's telling me that since they haven't even gotten that, been able to really do that.
Like, for me, it's, again, like, he did something, and because he is a rookie head coach that took his team to the finals and was 2 games away from winning a championship. Like, do you know what kind of shit you have to do for the organization? Especially, like, he is the like, if the NBA drew up the perfect coach, that would be it. He is a black man who took a team with black superstars in a black-driven league to the finals his rookie year and almost won a championship. Like, do you know the kind of shit you have to do to get suspended for a year after pulling that off. This isn't some mid
Consensually
coach
sleeping
in
with multiple.
Orlando.
That's what I think.
Say what?
That's kind of what I think it may have been.
What'd you say?
I mean,
I missed that part. I'm sorry.
you asked what could you have done to like, and I'm saying I think he was consensually sleeping with a lot of women, and a good amount of them were affiliated with the Celtics organization.
And I also think, and this is the conspiracy theorist to me, not to make light of the situation, Brad Stevens wants that coaching job back. Brad Stevens said he figured it out. Damn it. He learned how, he taught us how Jalen and Jason Tatum can play together and get us to the finals. Bet. That's all I needed. I got the blueprint.
Nah, and I'm going to say this. Ime, if Brad Stevens is working with whoever to try to get you out of your job and get back into your job, you should whip his ass. I don't even know what other way I could say. Whip his ass, please. Dog. Not on promote violence, but whip his ass.
Ime will be the coach of the Brooklyn Nets next year. I don't think he comes back to Boston. Like, again, you don't get suspended. You don't get anything like that. Why are you
just firing Steve Nash? Yo, what's your beef with Steve?
I don't have beef with Steve. Dog, KD tried to, Steve is gone after this year. Like, they need to win a championship or make the finals, or Steve is out of there. Ime will be there. Let's jump back into football. Let's talk a little college football. Well, first, before we do that, the chat has kind of been jumping about this. So let's see what everyone has said. Gator said, "Do you think this punishment is due to all the BS going on in sports?" To a degree, I think it's more so of the climate that we live in today compared to if this would have happened 10 years ago. If this would have happened 10 years ago, I think the woman or women involved would have been fired and Ime would have been absolved of everything.
I like what Kyle said. Kyle's been dropping some bars in here. He said, there are examples of superiors in relations with their subordinates in other industries. I think there's something that we don't know. And he also mentioned that just because the relationship was consensual, that it doesn't mean they didn't do anything wrong.
That's right.
That's very true.
I think we need to remember also in regards to power dynamics, right? He is the most powerful man in that organization. That's not the owner and not Brad Stevens. So if you're a woman who wants to continue working in this league, there could be a situation where you feel like you have to sleep with, if he's making a pass at you. So I think it's definitely important to acknowledge the power dynamics.
And I think that's another reason why why the suspension could have been as harsh as it is. Power dynamics. It's like even if, to Kyle's in your point, like even if this was consensual, yo, dog, you are the head coach of the Boston Celtics. Like this, we're not even talking about, no disrespect, this isn't the Denver Nuggets, dog. Like you are talking about one of the premier franchises in this association. In sports, not in sports. And you out here doing this, like come on. And I bet you there's probably like, yo, dog, like someone probably sat him down and had like a real OG chat with him, like, dog,
what are you doing?
No one's saying you can't be out here moving how you move in, but you're in Boston. You could literally find a woman, like find women who will do this and keep this so under wraps that like it'll like, why are you doing this here? I know someone had that conversation with him. Like, why are you doing this here? Like, you can do this anywhere else. Why do it here? And I think that's what it really. Let's get to college football.
All right. So, anything from this week you want to talk about? I know there's a line in here about Georgia Tech firing their head coach and the athletic director. D, the floor is yours. What about college football this week? And did you notice?
I want to start with Georgia Tech. Just when I thought there was a team in the ACC who couldn't have been more down than Virginia Tech, here comes Georgia Tech saying, "Hey, hold my fucking beer. Let's just start firing folks after week 3, week 4." Dear God, like Scott Frost, very deservedly so. You just can't keep doing that. But Georgia Tech, come on, man, what are we doing? Other than that, this week also showed me. I'm gonna keep reiterating this. Yo, there are some teams. Fam, when this 12-team playoff come along, I'm telling you right now, your fan base is going to be very upset when y'all get y'all's asses kicked. I want to shout out Kansas State.
Did
it
Oklahoma.
Again. I don't know what's going on, but I don't think I'm going to be hearing you guys in the college football playoff.
How long has Martinez been playing football? I feel like he was in Nebraska for 17 years. No, Martinez
Yeah.
been in Nebraska since I was in high school, and now he at K-State. How many years of eligibility does this boy have?
Now, I think that's a different guy. I think him and the other guy aren't related.
So the K-State, the quarterback Martinez, he did transfer from Nebraska. That's the same dude. He been playing college football since I was in high school. I feel like he been at Nebraska.
Those guys, those I don't understand those type of guys. Okay, well I did not know that. Okay. Who else had a pretty big win? Tennessee, another one.
I got one for you.
Tennessee played Florida, right? They beat Florida.
See, Gator tried to tell us. Gator said, leave Florida alone. Yes, Tennessee played Florida on Saturday. I'm sorry, Gator. I was trying to avoid it.
It is really about Florida. Florida's a good team. I think they just got to figure out the best sort of offense for Anthony Richardson to really allow his playmaking skills to come out. I think they're going to be a good team in about the next year or two. I want to talk about Tennessee.
Go for it.
Justin Fuente, you dirty fucking dog.
Oh, is he the coach at Tennessee?
No, you dirty son of a bitch, Justin Fuente. You had Hendon Hooker on your roster at Virginia Tech and willingly started Braxton Burmeister at quarterback. Hendon Hooker is about to be playing not only on Sundays, but he's going to be playing on Sundays. And Justin Fuente really tried to tell us that Braxton Burmeister was the better quarterback. Justin Fuente, whatever fucking couch you're sitting on, wishing and fucking dreaming that you could be coaching some football right now, please continue to watch all of Tennessee's games to consistently remind yourself how you just fucked up. Shout out to Tennessee because that was a good one too.
That was a good
team. Last one too, and this is more of a shout out to a player, but I'll give some shout out to the team. Shout out to the Clemson Tigers. I think you guys are starting to figure it out. DJU, you are starting to figure it out, young man. I gave you. I was hard on you, pause before when you were still trying to figure it out, but I see it now. He's starting to figure it out. He has started to figure it out. That team could be. Hey, Clemson is really. I mean, Clemson is the best hope for the ACC. Well, Clemson or NC State are the best hope for the ACC to make college football playoff.
Don't forget Syracuse. Syracuse 3-0. Who would have thought?
Undefeated. I'll tell you what, Wake Forest ain't crazy bad either.
No, they're not. I thought there was a moment I was like, yo, they're going to beat Clemson.
They're like,
I was like, yo, that's it. Clemson is done.
Well, no, they've already played, and there's no way for Wake Forest and Clemson to play again. So it kind of is what it is.
That might be. Well, Clemson has a few tough games. Saturday, I was like, yo, Wake Forest might pull this off.
But if Wake Forest, the only way Clemson, no, the only way Wake makes, and Florida State as well. The only way Wake makes the ACC championship game is if Clemson loses 2 more games than they do overall. Yeah. So, and if that happens, then I don't think the ACC gets into the college football playoff.
Nope. Also, get Miami out the ACC. You're done.
Middle Tennessee, right?
Yep. Get Miami out of here. You're done. We're good here. What did I tell y'all about schools that are 3-stripe schools? What did I tell you?
No, you can't say that because Kansas won.
Oh, yeah, that was why'd you take it? I was going to say, shout out Kansas, put them in the top 25. They're 3-0. I'm talking about contenders. I'm talking about schools that are supposed to be good. What did I tell you about 3-stripe schools with expectations?
I think a certain swoosh company may put the call in. Say, yo, they 3 stripes, get them out of here.
Get them out. Yeah, Gator, put Miami back in the Big East because they damn sure don't deserve to be in the ACC.
They fucking stink. Trash bags. Ugh.
And
the funny thing is, they're going to play Virginia Tech, and they're going to smoke Tech. They're going to smoke Tech, and I'm going to have to say, I don't understand how we lose to Miami, and Miami plays everyone else terrible, but whatever.
When do you guys play Miami?
Usually sometime in mid-October or early November. Usually during that time.
Kyle said Adrian Martinez first year in Nebraska was 2018. Kyle, I do not believe that. Subtract 10. I believe his first year was 2008.
Wow. Okay, so that makes sense.
I feel like he has been the quarterback at Nebraska for like 15 years, and I don't
And
know
I
why.
think something about it is like you have to compete in a certain number of like you could still play and be considered like a redshirt for that season, depending on like how many percentages of like, snaps you played or something like
Yo,
that. So
did you hear about the guy who's playing? I think it's D2 or D3. He's 49 in like North Dakota playing college football, and they were like, "Why are you doing this?" He was like,
is
"Well,
he
yeah." He was like, "I went to like I decided to go back to school later in life, and I had eligibility to play football, so I decided to do it."
Yeah, I mean, you saw how when LeBron tweeted that out, that statement out about college eligibility, someone the AD from Ohio State kind of answered him, kind of broke it down like it's as long as you haven't played that sport professionally, you can go back and do whatever you want to do.
That's crazy.
Uh,
Let's get to our quick hitters. NFL, the Pro
so,
Bowl has been replaced with a skills challenge and a flag football game. What do you think?
yo, I cannot wait for me and a bunch of other millions of dummies to gamble money on professional athletes playing fucking flag football. But hey, guys, just do it responsibly and use the promo code G for two, GF2 and underdog when you do it.
That's a great plug. That may be the best plug in the history of this show.
Oh man, we can lose money together with underdog.
Let's stay in football. Packers beat the Bucks in week 3. Brady fumbles, not fumbles, delay a game on the 2-point conversion, doesn't convert. Packers escape with the win. What are your state of the Packers in week 3?
You know, some days you just wake up and you feel better because a statement that you said, someone else might see it. And I woke up Sunday morning and I said, well, Aaron Rodgers is better than Tom Brady. And I just think that's why he's going to beat him.
Okay. That's spicy.
That game, that game was ugly.
Yes.
Outside the first quarter, that game was ugly. But you know what? What did we say at the top of the show? What is hard to do every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday in the National Football League?
Win.
I will take it.
Yep.
Because at a certain point, dog, it's like, all right, it's 5 minutes left in the fourth. Like, it's clear we're not going to score another touchdown. We may not score another point here. Defense, I'm right here with you. Let's ride. Let's get a stop. If this is what we got to do, let's just get a stop. And I want to shout out Brady. Yo, man, you're never out of a game when you have Tom Brady at the quarterback. But at the same time, it's like death, taxes, and whatever team is playing Tom Brady is going to find a way to piss that game down their leg almost certainly. Like It is, no matter who it is, if they're playing against Tom Brady, at some point in the game, they're going to find a way to try and piss that game down that leg.
Yes. That was not a fun game.
Shout out to the Packers. We won. And this is big because if we finish with the same record as the Bucks, we could tiebreaker over them.
Yep.
So, you know what I'm saying? If we got to make Bucks got to come to Lambeau for an NFC Championship game, then it's up and it's stuck. Just make sure this time we actually guard somebody to end the half. Shit.
I'd like to take a moment to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, who beat the holy hell out of the Commanders on Sunday. It's only week 3. I'm not trying to get excited. We played Jacksonville and Philadelphia on Sunday. Who would have thought that'd be the measuring stick game? I thought it would be against the Cowboys in a couple weeks. I'm excited to see what it would look like against the Jaguars. Again, a statement I didn't think I'd say. A win is a win. I'm sad they didn't pitch a shutout because they were pitching a shutout until the safety. Then defense pitched a shutout, and they just played cover 2 shell. And they scored. It doesn't matter. They won. Very excited. Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson are in the MVP conversation. But again, it's only week 3. I'm not going to talk shit. We're just going to chill.
Quarterbacks out here.
Yeah, we're just going to chill. We're going to come back. Let me see next week. Like, if we demolish Jacksonville, I'm going to come in here talking a little greasy.
Okay.
I'm going to talk a little greasy.
Okay.
I
would say before you talk greasy, just make sure you got to rack up at least 1 or 2 wins against like previous playoff teams from last year.
I don't think we play a playoff team until Dallas. I really don't. I know we have a really. Oh no! So it's the Jaguars, and then we go to Arizona to play the Cardinals, and then the Cowboys. Okay.
I think you guys might see. You you'll have some challenges coming up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what we look like against Kyler Murray.
And Dak's gonna come back for that Eagles game. I bet you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the thing is, he's either gonna come back for the Rams or the Eagles. And do you want to come back against Aaron Donald, or do you want to come back against a defensive line that just sacked Carson 9 times? Like, what? Pick your poison.
And Dallas ain't afraid of y'all. He
Yo,
got y'all circled.
dog.
He didn't want to come back against them Rams.
Dog.
The Rams consistently do not. The Cowboys consistently don't stack up well against the Rams. Y'all don't put no fear in their heart. And I'm not trying to talk.
I'm not scared of Dallas at all this year. Like, there's nothing about that team that scares me. Absolutely nothing.
I'm saying they say the same thing about y'all.
All right, when AJ Brown eating Trayvon's lunch, because that's gonna happen. He gonna eat that boy alive in front of God in America. But let's talk about basketball.
Let's talk about it.
Robert Sarver, kids, racism pays. He about to get a smooth billion after the league and the players put pressure on him to sell the team. D. This is sad and hilarious at the same time.
Yo, I know. Like, a lot of people were celebrating, rightfully so. A racist doesn't have a team anymore. But the other side of this coin, guys. This guy's about to make $1 billion because he dropped a few N-words and was very, very inappropriate to some women. So let's just pay you $1 billion to leave us alone.
Get you out of here. What?
Like,
okay.
Tell me where he loses here, guys. Like, that's what I was saying. Like we should make him sit with this shit, and like, you got to suffer now. Now you got to lose money on your what I think they should have done is let this man lose as much money on this team until he gets sick of it and has to force it. And then that's what forces him to sell the team. Don't make me sell the team. We're 2 years removed from going to NBA Finals, and we're still really, really good. Last year, the best record in the league, so we're already probably going to be one of the contenders. So if I sell this bitch right now, we up. We up.
Or you force him to sell the team for pennies on the dollar, right? Like, that's the way. If you want to make him pay, that's the way you make him pay. Sell it for pennies on the dollar. NBA media days have been happening. Anything interesting that you've seen or heard, or what are your thoughts?
This might be a little bit of a homer statement, but I was listening to Patrick Beverly talk yesterday, and he was talking about how him and Russ have actually, like, he's always respected the type of competitor and man that Russ is. Yo, why when my teammates aren't deciding to be mad petty towards each other and be professional, you got to be Cap. He had a story too. He had a story.
Do you believe that? Those two have hated each other for like 10 years, and all of a sudden, all they had to do was.
But that's on the court. We don't know what's off the court. On the court, they had some beef. Off the court,
he dove at Russ's knees, and then, like, OKC was going to go to the finals that year. He dove at Russ's knees, and that was it.
I'm saying on the court, they came ahead, but Pat Bev was telling the story about. I think it's like his first or second year in Houston. Russ actually gotten like his sister, Pat Bev's sister, like 4 seats to the game.
Okay.
And Pat Bev said from that moment on, he always knew like Russ was like a mad solid dude. So it's funny. I was like, oh, so this beef really is like basketball and basketball only. So then I was like, okay, well, it makes sense why I think he said like Russell Westbrook has been like one of the coolest people he's been on the team with since he's gotten there. So I mean, I just think, look, man, these guys are millionaires and they just want to win. I just think, you know, when you come together and they're probably looking at their roster like, yeah, we if we come together and play like we're supposed to, this is a good team. We can win games, and if they're not gonna make it a big deal, I'm not either. Let's play some basketball and let's win some games, man.
Okay.
And another thing that I heard, and I thought that was interesting, NBA media. DeAndre Ayton and Monty Williams don't have a beef. My man he was sick that he got benched, rightfully so. But if you're a coach and you see something that's not working, you make some changes too.
I think it's a one-way beef. I think DeAndre does not like him. I don't think Monty cares. He too old for that. Monty been through too much to care about that.
Yeah. It's like, and it's also like, yo, dog, I got you paid. I helped get you paid.
Did he though? Because they didn't want to pay him until the Pacers forced them to pay him.
Yo, Monty Williams is telling DeAndre Ayton somewhere. Like, I know he's saying to himself, I got this motherfucker paid. It could be yesterday, today, tomorrow. This motherfucker is getting paid off playing on my team and my system. We set you up for success. My dog, you out here playing with CP3 and Devin Booker. Get the fucking rebounds, score the fucking ball when you need to, and shut the hell up. That's what Monty Williams is probably saying to himself. But in the outward, speaking to the public, yo, man, I haven't talked to a lot of guys since Game 7. Rightfully so. Yeah, I don't want to talk to your ass. You was out there getting cooked by Luka. I ain't got a lot of words for you right now. Rightfully so.
That's Luka. Only thing I got for media day is the Miami Heat will not win a game until Jimmy Butler take them dreads out his head. Dog, take them extensions out. It's not funny.
Jimmy, lead him in.
He looked like Trez. I saw that picture. I was like, is that Trez? Oh no, that's Jimmy.
Nah, Jimmy, please leave him in, dog.
Jimmy, take that shit out of you. Y'all will not win a single game until you take that. Like, I'm surprised Udonis Haslem they roll up and pull that joint out. Like, I'm surprised Udonis is like, ain't no person I'm hooping with wearing extensions on the floor. We ain't doing that. Dwayne Wade came in here.
Now Udonis got some jokes in.
Yo, Udonis like Dwayne came in these zesty zoot suits. And that was cool because he was the best player on the team and he's won rings. But Jimmy, I ain't playing with no dude with extensions.
Jimmy down there, Jimmy down there in South Beach with them dreads, letting it flow and letting it hang. Oh my goodness.
Jimmy, take them joints out. No. Let's switch to CJ McCollum got his extension shout out, but let's talk about someone who's gotten a lot of press the past couple of days, and that's Zion. Zion looks fit. He looks slim. He said he's ready for the season. Is this the year? Like, is this the year when Duke Zion comes to the NBA and he's in the MVP conversation? What you think, Hendricks?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think this is the year that Zion makes an MVP case. I don't mean he wins it. I mean he makes I think he makes an argument, like a top 3 or 4 player MVP race candidate argument this year. I think he's going to have a really good season. He looks really good, pause. He looks like he's healthy, a little slim. I think he's tired of hearing what he's been hearing. I think he's ready to prove to not only himself, but to the league and his support system and his teammates he can be who he needs him to be. And I think when you look at this team with Brandon Ingram, with Zion, with CJ McCollum, and they got Herb Jones. They got some pieces on this team that they could win some games. So hey, Zion, if you healthy and you about it and you locked in, I'm rooting for you, my brother. I'm rooting for you.
I'm with you. I think Zion is in the MVP discussion because he's healthy and he plays great. Like you said, he has a great cast around him, so the Pelicans can win some games. You want to talk about fantasy real quick?
Oh man, where are we starting? Are we starting at? No, let's start with the Dynasty League.
Start with the Dynasty League.
All right, I'll start with the Dynasty League. So as you guys know, and of course some of the guys, the fellas in the chat know, we just finished up week 3 in our Dynasty League, 10-team PPR league. Danny, I'm just looking at the weekly sleeper report. I mean, right now it's saying the best team of the week was yours truly, leading the league this week in scoring with 186 points this week. It said Bam had the worst team with only 126 points scored. Shout out to Bam. I want to shout out Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Devontae Smith, and Mark Andrews, who were the highest players of their respective categories this week. And I had 3 of the 4. So, some other league awards. So, most efficient manager, shout out to my guy Dylan. Least efficient manager. Sheesh. our guy, our guy Kyle says they said you were the least efficient manager, my friend. Let's see. Lowest points and win. Gator J won by 131 to 126. Slimmest margin of victory. Our very own Danny Ocean, who won
First
by
one of the
3
year.
points.
First one of the year, baby, and it came in a tight one.
Year, which I wanted to say. Across both leagues that you and I are in, I noticed you were winless in both, and you won both of the games. So I say, hey, it was big weeks for you in your camps.
We back.
Biggest blowout was me. I won by 51 points. So even the guy who I played, he scored 131 points. He was not the happiest. He actually sent me a message during the match. He was like, "Dog, this Lamar to Andrews combination is fucking ridiculous." He was like, "Nah, this shit might be OT." And they also said I was the overachiever, out scoring my own projections by 22 points. So shout out to the weekly Dynasty League report, Danny. I guess I should ask you, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on your team before we start reading into what the chat was thinking?
I don't think this is going to be a weekly thing, but I'm glad the Eagles are starting to get Devontae Smith more involved. My prediction at the beginning of the year was that a lot of the attention will go to A.J. Brown, and that will leave Devontae with a lot of opportunities for explosive plays, and that happened on Sunday. I expect more, not the same stat line. He threw up like 35 points, but I expect more this kind of production out of Devontae. So I'm very happy about that.
I got him in a few leagues. So if he keeps this up, I'm definitely gonna have him as a weekly starter. Yeah. So of course we got some guys. We got some guys from the league who weekly show up. So starting with our guy Research Kyle, who I played this week, or last week. We're on week 4 now, I believe. Or actually,
no, this is week 4 coming up. So you played.
Yeah, no, I played Kyle this week. This week. So I played someone else last week. So Kyle said, shout out to all of the 0-3 teams in the Dynasty League. I believe Kyle, are you 0-3?
Yes, Kyle was 0-3.
Oh, Kyle, man, that means it's a big week. Playing me, I bet you this is going to be the week your team pops off. Gator J says that him and I are headed for a collision course for week 5. For all those who do not know, Gator J is the other unbeaten team in the league. I think it's just me and Gator J who are the last 2 unbeaten.
I think it is.
So we're also in the same division as well. So we are going to play each other a few times this season. First time being next week. Gator J also mentioned that I picked up 60 points on him this week. So obviously Gator J and I are going to be fighting for the division crown to get that first round bye. Kyle mentioned that he left CeeDee Lamb on the bench. That's unfortunate. I don't know if I probably would have played him either, given Dak was out. Giants defense came into the game, a little bit above average. You didn't know what that offense is going to look like. Gator J also said he's looking for a few trades.
Gator, I might want to talk to you about Deontay Johnson for Jalen Waddle if you're interested. Some live bartering. Yo, if he ever what?
I ain't saying a thing. I ain't saying nothing. Jamie said he's one of the 214 players still undefeated in SFB 12. Lord.
So that's the Scott Fish Bowl.
Okay. How does that work?
Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Scott Fish is he hosts multiple leagues per year for charity. Calls it the Scott Fish Bowl. Like there are multiple leagues and charities, and it's a big draft. It's a big thing in the fantasy world. So someone in the chat wants to give like an overview. Like I am familiar with it. I'm just not privy to the details on the Scott Fish Bowl. Like drop it in, teach us something tonight.
So do you actually do you yourself win money, or will the money just go to charity?
I'm not sure. Yo, if you hear this, if he's listening or if he comes on the audio venture, Greg, stop sending me these terrible ass trade requests.
Y'all did. So, okay, do you see why I was the way I was after that trade last year? Like no, everyone at that time said, "Yo, you're trade hating. You're just trying to be a commissioner." I'm like, "Yo, y'all do not realize this changes the whole dynamic of this. Is a 10-team league, people. You make one stupid trade, and now it's an unbalanced league. It's a quick and again, I say from that moment, you saw how the AFC as an entire league went this way, and the NFC went this way.
Yeah,
it is what it is, but." Given that, we can switch over to our redraft league.
Let's do it.
So this week, for those who don't know, Danny and I are also in a redraft league. And unlike our dynasty league, in our redraft league, you and I are actually in the same division. So this week or last week was actually the first time that we met for this season. And well, it wasn't really a game. My team definitely did not show up. They got their asses kicked. And now, I mean, there's multiple reasons why. I mean, there was some points left on the bench.
Yeah, you were hurt.
My team was really, really injured. For all who need a little bit more context, so I built this team around Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen, and Justin Herbert.
Yep.
And as you can imagine, if the quarterback is very questionable all week and literally isn't announced playing until 10 minutes before the 1 o'clock games,
you scramble.
No, I didn't scramble. I just put Carson Wentz in there. Yeah. And with 10 minutes left, I'm like, well, there's no way I was like, I'm not going to, if the report came this late, I'm just not going to trust it. I'm just going to go with Carson Wentz and just hope that he just has a game against the Eagles. Not the case. Keenan Allen was already injured as well. So I'm like, all right, so we're going to have a guy out here with bad ribs without his starting wide receiver. I might just stay away from Justin Herbert in general. And I mean, not like he had 12 points. So it's not like that really would have helped me. Really wouldn't have helped me. Overall, my team just really didn't perform well. And I think it was a blessing and a curse because a lot of teams in this league end up like you and the other winless team in our redraft league won. So now we have, like I mentioned in the commissioner's report, we have 6 teams in this league that are 1 and 2. And the difference between like the 5th or 6th seed or the 6th seed and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The difference between the 5th and the 6th seed is like 20 something points.
Yeah, it's
something points. And y'all fucked up by giving me the first waiver wire pick because my roster is actually good when healthy. So now I'm about to get Jamal Williams for free, and DeAndre Swift is hurt. So, and Greg has him. I realized that after I sent that message. Greg has him. So the price of the brick has gone up now. DeAndre Swift is available. I want everyone to know. Not DeAndre Swift. Jamal Williams is available. When I get him, he is available. But the price of the brick has gone up. It's going to cost at least a 3rd or 2nd round pick because he is atop of the NFL in touchdowns.
You won't be getting that from me. I'm good over here. Back to Scott Fishbowl. So we got some clarity. Scott Fishbowl's 250 different 12-team leagues, all under the Scott Fishbowl umbrella. There is no entry fee. Everyone is encouraged to donate to Fantasy Cares. And then this year, Scott Fishbowl has over 3,000 players from fans to analysts. And I know these are like famous people. These aren't just like, everyone's a part. These are like people who cover the NFL. I know that much. Like it has quite the following.
Okay. Okay. So I guess it's based off of points. Okay. All right. That's cool. That's really cool. That's really, really cool.
The last thing, you bum ass motherfuckers didn't leave us any emails or nothing to talk about this week.
It's okay because I came with a question that I wanted to speak on.
Okay.
As a speak on it, as a speak to us segment, since no one wanted to send speak on it pod14@gmail any emails. It's okay because I had something that I wanted us to, or myself, to speak on, and that is people on the internet we are fans of the game. Most of us know football as fans because we watch it. But people, I want you to know, nobody knows the NFL better than actual football players and people who spend their life, blood, and sweat playing football. They know the true ins and outs. Peyton and Eli, thank you for allowing us
Yes.
fans of real football talk, real talk of the game, the real X's and O's. Thank you for giving us somewhere to watch on Mondays.
Yes.
Now, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. I'm still there with y'all. I'll be watching. I switch in between y'all, but I spend a little bit more time with Peyton and Eli because they give a little bit more breakdown. So I don't want this to be a knock at Joe and Troy. I really want to big up Peyton and Eli. I think they do a really good job of just talking about the games, talking through situational football,
Yes.
obviously bringing in a little bit of the entertainment value with their guests. But guys, a lot of football is very situational and what you do in game and clock management. And I think a lot more people really need to pay attention to how Peyton and Eli speak to game situations. Because when you watch your own team play, it gives you a little bit more insight into some of the decisions and strategy and personnel that is made. So just want to say that. Just want to say that we as fans need to appreciate the Peyton and Eli special a lot more. And shout out to ESPN for doing a great job with this coverage for Monday Night Football.
Yes. Looks like Kyle doesn't like Aikman. Kyle said Aikman's bad as a job. I like
Well,
Troy.
Kyle's a Packers fan, man. He's not a fan of Troy Aikman back in those heyday of
That's fair.
prime Packer days. Danny, is there anything else, man? What an episode! What an episode! Thank you guys. Thanks for everyone, as always, who continues to show up every week. Show us love in the comments with the engagement. Really appreciate it. Make sure you guys are sending us a question or two to speak on it, pod. Something that we can maybe go in depth in. If you want to speak on it pod 14 at gmail. Holla at us. Shout out to Kyle, shout out Jamie. Danny, let the people know where they can find you.
First and foremost, follow us on Twitter, follow us on IG, speak on an _pod. Gator just sent out a trade offer for Deontay Johnson. I was half joking, but I'll review it. I'll look at it and see. I really like Deontay Johnson. I was just joking around, Gator, but I'll check it out. Follow me on the Bird app at DannyOcean41. D, where can the people find you?
Make sure you guys follow me at Los DMix on Instagram and Twitter. Like Danny said, make sure you guys follow Speak on It on Twitter and Instagram. Also, make sure you guys are subscribing, leaving comments on the YouTube videos, on the audio adventures, wherever you're catching them. We love it. We really appreciate it. Shout out to the Going for Two network as always. Shout out Underdog Sports. Danny, if there's nothing else, get us a little something.
Yeah, what are we listening to as we rat out?
Yo, I'm going to be honest with you. Now, this song I'm about to play.
Okay.
Don't clown me for this. Don't clown me for this. But this song is kind of fire, and it's really for the ladies.
Okay.
But this song kind of fire. This one is Tomorrow 2 by Glorilla and Cardi B.
Okay. Yeah, turn that up.
But this song kind of go.
It don't kind of go. It go. We out.